Welcome to TechVets, the podcast. This evening we're joined by Sara Hilton, a Forces partner, working mum of 3, and a lady who's retrained through TechVets to secure a job in the cyber security sector. Welcome, Sara. Let's start off by talking about your connection to the military.
No problem at all. So my husband Andrew was in the army for 13 years. He served with the Royal Corps of Signals as a technical person of some description, I think. I don't really know a lot about what he did. We've been married for 10 years and together for 13 years so far.
So did you follow him round? Did you go static? How did you kind of play military life?
So when we got together, he was on tour in Afghanistan. And then when he came back, he was still posted to Germany. After he came back from Germany, we moved to Blanford. So that was the first time we'd lived together. From Blanford, we moved to Northern Ireland, where we got married and had our first child. And then we spent a wonderful 3 years in Lisbon. We moved to Corsham, where we had our second child. And then he left, so we moved back to the northwest, where we had our third child. So a very military child upbringing so far.
How did you find all of the moving around?
I loved it. I loved meeting new people. I loved seeing new places. The time we spent in Northern Ireland was probably the best time we had ever. So, yeah. But I think it would have been difficult if he'd stayed in once the children got a bit bigger, with schools and stuff. But I loved it.
And before you met him, what was your career, or what were your kind of career aspirations, and were you able to keep pursuing that career while married to someone in the forces?
I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I've only just found out that I wanted to do anything, really. So I wasn't really doing anything, which actually helped a lot when we were moving around, because I could just pick up a job as and when. But I didn't work for 9 years while I was raising the children, so I had a big career or working break, which I only went back to work last year.
And what helped you to return to the workplace? What kind of support networks did you tap into?
So last year, I went back to a similar job that I'd done before, so I found it kind of easy to just slot back into and work around the children in school and stuff. But I didn't really tap into any specific support networks or anything. I rely on grandparents to look after the children and things, but other than that, just kind of went for it last year.
So what job did you find yourself getting into?
Last year I went to work at David Lloyd Clubs in their club room, so doing coffees and all that, which I'd done before at Starbucks and places like that. So it was just something nice and familiar to get me back into the swing of things.
And how did you discover TechVets?
So Andrew had been doing a lot of stuff with TechVets in the past, and he'd kept saying "Oh, you should do cybersecurity, you should do some qualifications." And being the least technical person that I've ever known, bar one, I was just like, no, I can't. I'm not any good with computers. I'm not good at all. But when they opened up all of their resources to spouses and whoever was associated with the military, I just thought, do you know what? Just have a go, have a little try and see. Try one of the really basic ones, see where it goes. And I actually wasn't as terrible at it as I thought I might be, which was a nice surprise. And then it just kind of went from there, and it was brilliant.
So is that when you found TechVets?
Yeah, when I first had anything to do with it was in June last year.
And what did you do when you first became a member? What did you start looking at? Did you know what side of cybersecurity you wanted to go into?
No, not at all. I just looked for. So I think there was a couple of pathways listed on the website last year. It's changed a lot now, and there was one for a SOC analyst training pathway. So I thought that would probably be the most general overview to look at. And I think the first course on the list was an Open University introduction to cybersecurity. So I thought, well, I can't really go wrong with a basic overview. And it was like an 8-week course, and I think I did it in about 3 days. So yeah. I know it wasn't. It was meant to be like a bit 1 week and a bit the other week, but I just powered through it, and I really enjoyed it, and I was surprised myself a lot with what I took from it and how it actually how it went in, because I wasn't expecting it to go in at all. I thought I'd just try it and then it would be like, no, it's not for me. But quite the opposite.
What was the training platform like that you used to complete the course?
It was brilliant. It was really easy to use. It was on I've forgotten what website it was on now, the first one. But it was dead simple to use. It broke it all down really nice and into some tiny little chunks, which is great because you can just like pick and go through it at your own pace and just work through it when you can. But obviously I just went all in and did it all in all in a few days, and then moved on to the next one and the next one and the next one.
So how many courses have you done?
From that pathway, I think I did about 8 or 9, and I did them in a few weeks. And then my eldest daughter broke her arm and had to have surgery, and then it was the summer holidays, so I kind of had to put it all on hold, which, it wasn't a problem because it was all like at your own pace. I was not like missing anything. And then once they went back to school in September, I was able to pick it up again, just like in my own, when I had free time, which isn't that easy to come by, but I definitely managed to get more done.
And were you still working at this point while you were doing the training as well?
Yes, so I was working part-time. I was doing 18 hours a week, but I also have my own business, which I was running alongside that as well, which again is something I can just pick up and do whenever I have free time, which is always good as well.
It doesn't sound like you get much free time between 3 children, cybersecurity training, and 18 hours a week, plus family life.
No, absolutely not. But you just got to make time for it, haven't you? So I did.
It's amazing that you've accomplished so much in such a short time frame. And what did completing the training lead to next?
So there's just an unbelievable amount of resources and an unbelievable amount of courses that you can do, and that it can be quite overwhelming because you don't know kind of where to go and what to do, but there's so many different pathways that you can go down. And I just thought, I'll just try a little bit of that, and I'll just try a little bit of that. So I haven't finished like any of my learning because there's just so much more to learn, and I can't wait because the job that I have got is going to be a whole new level of stuff that I haven't even looked at yet, with all the TechVets stuff that's led me here. So yeah, it's never ending.
So what is the new job that you've got?
So it is an entry-level cybersecurity analyst for Chubb, the fire and safety.
Oh, fantastic. And so when you were doing the courses, was that always your intent to get the qualifications, get the experience to land a job in the cyber sector?
Yeah, definitely. An entry-level role was obviously the dream job because, well, I don't have any like formal like qualifications where I've had to take like a paid exam or anything like the CompTIA ones. And I was getting really, really frustrated because all the entry-level roles that are advertised are nearly always, oh, we want a degree in cybersecurity and we want 4 years experience. Well, that's not an entry-level role because you're already asking for so much. So it was getting quite frustrating. And then I finally found like the dream job that actually asked for no qualifications and no experience and just a passion and a willing to learn. And I nearly cried happy tears when I saw the job spec. I really did, because I didn't think I was ever going to find it. But here we are, we found it. And it was on the TechVets job board as well, which is amazing.
Oh, that's brilliant. And so did you have any support with putting your CV together for it? Did you ask the TechVets community their thoughts on applying for the role? How did it go?
So I obviously asked my husband, who's been like my cybersecurity mentor, and he's always there to ask every single question that I have, which is a lot of questions about a lot of things. Um, Obviously, like looking on TechVets and on the Discord channels and stuff for information and tips and things is always really helpful as well.
How did the interview process go for the role?
It was so quick. So I found it just by chance, the job on the Thursday night, and I was like, oh, I'll just have a look on the Chubb website and see what kind of more qualifications, but there was no details about it on the Chubb website. So I emailed the guy whose name was on the TechVets job board and just said, like, I'm interested in this job. I can't find any more details about it. Can you tell me anything about it? And he was like, yeah, we'll arrange a call for tomorrow and I'll tell you more about it. And I was like, oh, okay, that's quick. So we did that, and he'd said that he hadn't listed it because they wanted to fill it with someone from the military community through TechVets, so it hadn't been listed like anywhere else. I had a quick chat with him on the Friday, and then a more formal interview was scheduled for the Monday. So I really didn't have a lot of time to prepare for that. And I went to Blackburn on the Monday afternoon to have the in-person interview with them, and then I was offered the job on the Tuesday morning. It
That's
seemed to go well.
amazing.
I know. All
Yeah.
just from a quick search on a Thursday night, just like, oh, I'll have one more look. And there we are.
So what kind of questions did they ask you in the interview?
Well, my husband had assured me that because it was an entry-level role, they probably wouldn't ask me that many technical questions, and it'd be more behavioural questions, like tell me about a time when you know, had to work as a team member. So I was like, right, I'll prepare all those, like I can do that. And then I went to the interview and they didn't ask me any of those behavioural questions at all. They talked about the courses that I'd done and like what I do to like keep up to date with current events in the cybersecurity field. And then they handed over for their technical questions, which I was not prepared for in any way, shape, or form. But they were nice and basic, and I had covered nearly everything in my courses that they asked me. So I was able to answer them, if not proficiently, but I was competently answering them, which was good. But I was a bit like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that, but there we go. I think it was about 6 technical questions.
When you walked out of the interview, how did you feel?
I felt happy because I did, in my head, know that it had gone well. You just get a feeling. And the guy who'd interviewed me was ex-army. So it's always nice to have like a connection. I knew I'd answered the technical questions okay, and I just rang Andrew straight away. And I was like, "You said there wouldn't be any technical questions," but he was like, "I really didn't think there would be, but how did it go?" And I was like, "No, I think it went well." And then, yeah, on the Tuesday morning, I got an email offering me the position, so it did seem to go quite well.
That's absolutely fantastic news. And how did your children react to the news? Because they must have seen you working all hours, doing, basically juggling training and working and them.
Yeah, so we told them that if Mummy had managed to get a new job doing the same thing as Daddy, then we might be able to go to Butlins. So I said, "Oh, Mummy's got a new job," and they were just like, "Yay, we can go to Butlins!" So I don't think they were. They're still very young. They're only 9, 7, and 5, so they don't really see past what's in it for them really, which is evidently going to Butlins.
That's brilliant. For the role, is it a work from home? Are you in the office? How does it fit around your life?
So it is one day in the office, which is in Blackburn, which is only about half an hour away from where I live, which is super handy. And then 4 days at home. The hours say like 9 to 5, but they're super flexible. Like I can go and do the school runs if I need to go to like special morning like assembly when the children get a certificate. It's like not a problem as long as I get my hours done. Then they're happy for me to work around the children, and Andrew to obviously work around the children as well.
Would you recommend to other military spouses or forces families to look at these options if they're stuck in jobs that they just move and they pick up jobs? How would you recommend this to other forces families?
Like it's just brilliant because like I know I'm like tied to one day in the office at the moment in Blackburn, but nearly all other roles are fully remote, so it doesn't matter where you are. You can still carry on working. You can work from home. even if like for a bigger company, they might have offices all over the country. So you could like just pick up one day in the office close by. It's just something that can just, it's only going to get bigger and there's going to be more opportunities available for everybody. So yeah, absolutely. It just seems like it'll fit in so well around like family life. And the job I had before, I was working most weekends, if not so, like both days. So I was missing out on all the family time that we would have had together with Andrew wasn't working and the children. So, and now I'll be off every weekend as well, which is marvelous because we'll get to do lots of things together and have some lovely time as a family at the weekends. So,
what's the pay package or the difference between, say, working at David Lloyd to starting as an entry level SOC analyst?
So at David Lloyd, I was on technically higher than minimum wage, but it was like 10p, so it was like £9.60 an hour, which is obviously, it's not a bad wage at all, but it's not the best. So my entry level role that I am going into is starting at £25,000. And then when I've done the first qualification that they want me to do, which they will support me and obviously give me time to learn in my work time and pay for the exam at the end of it, my pay will increase to £32,500.
So it's actually a pretty good choice to invest in the training.
It's a big one. Yeah, absolutely. And especially there's so much free training through TechVets, and like it's just, yeah, it's going to make such a big difference to our lives having this extra income.
Did you have any kind of technical background before? Did you do IT at school?
Like literally the worst person to use a computer, bar one, like I said. But yeah, absolutely no previous technical ability. I hated IT at school because all I remember from IT at school was learning to type, like with which fingers go on which letters. I'm still terrible at typing. I still type with 2 fingers, but you know, it's got me. I'm okay though so far. So, but yeah, absolutely no like prerequisite for being technical in any way at all, because if I can do it, then literally anybody can do it.
Oh my gosh. So did you let the TechVets community know when you bagged the job?
I did. I sent a message to James and thanking them like profusely for the work that they did to open it up to spouses, because without that I would not have been able to do any of it. And just, yeah, the support has just been amazing.
It's a phenomenal story. I mean, do you think the resilience that you've shown in retraining and working and juggling family life as a forces family, do you think that has helped you to achieve what you've achieved?
Yeah, definitely, because you just, as a forces family, you get used to so much that other people don't normally have to go through, and you just really, I've done so much more. I've got so much more strength. Like when they go away, you can just, you put your mind to it and you can just do what you need to do to get through deployments and things. And it's the same. You just go, I need to do this. This is my end goal. No different to when he was away and he's coming home. Like I need to power through, and stubborn. I think we're all a bit stubborn. So when you think, people think, you can't do it because you've got so many children and you're working and your business and everything. You're just like, well, actually, I can do it, and I'm going to do it, just even if it's just to prove you wrong. Especially as a woman as well, because there's like, it's obviously a very male-oriented field, and I'm the only girl or woman probably in the team of cybersecurity at my new job. So it'll definitely be they might not be quite expecting me when I turn up next Monday.
Do you think, you mentioned that Chubb had only advertised the role through TechVets because they wanted someone from the military community. Do you think that more employers are cottoning on to the strengths that forces families and veterans and service leavers bring to the workplace?
I hope so, because if they're not, then they're missing out on probably the best bunch of people that they could possibly employ.
Why do you think employers should be looking at forces families or looking to employ forces families?
We're just really, really strong, stubborn, really just we can achieve anything because of the things that we've had to go through, or we are super adaptable to change because obviously there is nothing set in stone until it's happened. And yeah, we're just super, I don't know, a super bunch of people who really, really want to achieve, but the circumstances don't always necessarily let us. But we definitely want to, and yeah, they should definitely be tapping into that.
What do you think was the hardest period that you went through when your husband was serving?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably, it's a bit sad. My parents both had cancer, and my Andrew was away when my mum became incredibly ill. He was in Afghanistan, and it was time to ring JCCC to get him home because there wasn't many days left of being here. So they, for once by miracle, something actually went into motion and actually happened, and they got him home. But unfortunately, they wanted to send him back not long after she died. But then my dad was also coming to the end of his life, so the chances were that as soon as he got back, they would have to bring him back again. And luckily, they let him stay for the duration of that all happening, and he didn't have to go back after that. He was able to stay and support me through that. But yeah, that was definitely the worst time.
I can't even begin to imagine how difficult that must have been, especially when you've got the added concern of your partner being deployed.
Yeah.
I mean, you can ask for a more difficult period of life to get through. And I think for people listening, I think a lot of people will have similar experiences to that.
Yeah.
And for those partners who are looking for stability, they may not get the stability and the support all the time that they need from living this crazy forces life, but accessing a career which is flexible, which you can take around the world with you, is such a valuable tool to have in your back pocket.
Oh yeah, definitely.
For those people listening that are thinking, I just couldn't do this, I couldn't do what Sarah's done, what would you say would be the best place to start, the baby step that they could take just to get going and build confidence?
So definitely sign up to TechVets, have a look at the courses that are on offer, pick something basic like the introduction to cybersecurity. It was literally like the babyest of baby steps, and just have a go, because honestly, if I can do all of the courses that I have done, like the other week I was coding with Python, and like a few weeks before that, if you'd have said, oh, in a few weeks you'll be coding with Python, I would have been literally on the floor laughing. But there I was coding with Python, and it was really enjoyable and really fun, and I was loving it, which is insane. But yeah, absolutely, just a nice little course, basic introduction to cybersecurity. You will honestly be so surprised at how much you take in. It built my confidence so much, like the little courses, and you get a little certificate at the end, and you're like, whoa, I did that one, whoa, I did that one. And you get to see them all, and it's just, you can go, actually, yeah, I can do this, like, and you just keep going, and then you just get more and more and more, and then here we are.
Are you on the TechVets Discord community? So if people are listening and they want to reach out to you and talk to you kind of on a one-to-one basis, is that option there for people?
Yeah, so I am on the Discord community, but I have still not come to grips with Discord at all. I can use it in a very basic way, but yes, absolutely, reach out. I'm more than happy to signpost people and help people and just show them what I did and see if that helps, because honestly, it's just the best thing ever. Although I haven't started yet, so we'll see.
Well, we'll have to catch up in 6 months' time and see how far along you are and your kind of lived experience of the role and what it's like, because
Yeah.
I'm sure that people listening will want to follow your journey as it progresses.
I hope so.
Thank you, Sarah, so much.
Thank you very much.
And for any of our listeners who want to follow in Sarah's footsteps, just head over to techvets.co, register to become a member, and you'll gain free access to an unrivaled amount of tech and cyber courses that can help you make the leap into a tech career and get you moving up that promotional ladder, which we're keeping everything crossed for you, Sarah, that is absolutely the direction that your career goes in.
Thank you very much, me too.
Thank you very much, and thank you to our listeners for joining us.